This is Rob Turbot for Boxing Social in association with Betfred. Delighted to be joined by the Lightning, Lee McGregor. It's been a long time, Lee. How you doing?
It has, mate. No, I'm doing good. You?
I'm very well, thanks. Very well. Third interview I've conducted today, and you're the first one to ask me how I am. So thanks, Ben Davidson and Josh Taylor. Yeah, you always do. You're very polite. How are you keeping, Lee?
Good, good. This is my second week down here. Enjoying it. I had a great first week. As I said, second week now, and yeah, I'm enjoying it so far.
Now, obviously, me and you have known each other since you were part of the McGregor stable. Then you went over to Grant Smith over at Steel City Gym in Sheffield. Just tell us a little bit about why you're no longer training at Steel City and obviously have moved down with Ben Davidson.
So obviously, I had my last fight towards the back end of last year. With Grant, everyone was great. I enjoyed training down there. I had a nice, my own little flat down there, and I brought my girlfriend and my baby down and that with me, so it was really good. I had a nice little setup, and then we were all hit by this pandemic that we're currently in, and that sort of delayed everything and put on a lot of problems for us all, and certainly me. So I was paying for a flat down there for months that I wasn't living in, and I just got to the stage where there was I just had to kind of give it up. So I'd given the flat up, and then I hadn't been down there training for a while. It'd been a long time since I'd been down there, and I just felt like I went over to Forteventura to do a bit of training with Ben and Josh and all that, and really enjoyed it. And then I come back, I still wasn't quite sure what I was going to do, and then the opportunity came to come down here and do a bit of training, and I just feel like maybe something a bit new, freshen things up. Obviously, I never had the flat or that down there anymore. We all stay in this flat down here together. I'm back with Josh, training alongside Josh. I think that does me really good. I do feel like we bounce off each other, and we both get the best out of ourselves training alongside each other. So it's good to be back alongside them.
Now, before we come on to Josh Taylor, obviously that's one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about. Why Ben Davidson? What was it about Ben Davidson that kind of enticed you in to come and work with him?
I think Ben's a very good coach. He's worked with the best fighters, and look at the results he's been getting. You just have to look at what he done with Tyson Fury. Even just to get him back in the ring was some achievement, and then to go on and do the things they done, it was really impressive. And I know just that he's been great with me ever since I've met him. Very, very knowledgeable. I think he will definitely suit me. I feel like he will obviously suit myself and Josh. Both quite similar fighters in terms of we like to fight, we like to be inside, and I think Ben will make us even better and not get hit as much, because I think we both like to take a shot to give one sometimes. So the higher up, well, certainly me, the higher up in the level I go, I can't keep doing that. So I definitely think Ben will improve me as a fighter, and I know just that he's got a great team around him. He covers every single area. He's got nutritionists, strength and conditioning, everything. Everything's taken care of, and he's got a right good plan, and I love it so far. So I'm really looking forward to the future.
You mentioned there about kind of S&C and nutrition and stuff like that. I've been with you, unfortunately, on weigh days and the day before weigh days when it's not been a pretty sight always. Just talk to us a little bit about how much you were struggling to make weight and what benefits that you've seen from it already so far.
Yeah, no, it's mad. It's really been a big eye opener since basically getting in touch with Ben and being alongside him. Obviously, he put me onto the nutritionist that he works with, Dave, who's absolutely brilliant, who you've met. He stays here in the house with us, so there's no cutting any corners when it comes to the diet. And it's crazy the things I've done in the past, making weight. Just Ben uses a saying, you don't know what you don't know, and it's so true. I've really suffered for nothing. I've done mad suffering, and like I said, for nothing. Now I'm training, performing so much better in the gym, eating so much better, energy levels through the roof, and I'm making weight easier than ever. So it's amazing. I can't believe it's actually possible for me to make bantamweight so well. My last fight was obviously a little bit over the limit, but no problems at all. I could have made that bantamweight limit that morning. Even better now that was just through contact through WhatsApp. Obviously regarding the diet and stuff like that. Now I'm actually here alongside him. He's got his eyes on me. He can test me. He can do everything and more time as well. So I'm definitely going to be more than ready because when November 11th comes.
You make a good point there about kind of living in and having Dave here around with you and not being able to cut the corners. Your last fight, as you mentioned, about against Ryan Walker, you did come in slightly heavy. How did it feel at the high weight? Because I thought that potentially it could be looking at you going to super bantamweight. Because obviously, as I mentioned, had seen kind of the gory weigh-ins in the past with yourself. Was that ever realistically considered?
Definitely on my behalf. Before I joined Ben and Dave, I was thinking super bantamweight's probably going to be the next step for me. I used that last fight as sort of like a guide to see where we're at, but Dave's very confident, and so is Ben, that I can make, and most importantly myself, we can make bantamweight really well and comfortable. Like I said just there, that I would have made bantamweight that last fight there, and it would have been the best I'd ever done it. So no problems there, but it was nice to have to come in that extra 3 pounds, no take that last 3 pounds off. But again, it wouldn't have been that bad, that much of a difference. I still would have been as big and as strong as what I was on fight night. So I'm looking forward to this camp. Normally I'm not really looking forward to camps. I look forward to camps, I look forward to fights, but I normally don't look forward to the weigh-in. But this time I'm looking forward to the whole process. I'm going to enjoy it, and I think it's definitely going to be one of my best performances. It needs to be, because it's a hard fight.
It is a hard fight, and we'll come on to that shortly. How important is it now? This is your third setup since you've turned professional. You've made no secret about your kind of willingness to really challenge yourself and get through, the early stages of your career and chase titles. How important is it now that you find this settled place for you to build on your career?
Oh, 100%. I've always wanted to take myself out of my comfort zones. Like I said before, there's not many fighters out there that are willing to do what I do. No, just in terms of taking the risks in the fights, in terms of the sacrifices that I do in the lead up to these fights. I'm down here now in London, away from my family, my little girl. It's tough, it's hard, and like I said, no many fighters want to do that, but I'm willing to do anything to reach the top of this game and become not just a world champion, a multiple weight world champion. And I firmly believe this is the best setup. I've got the best team around me, and I'm just really excited to see how far we can really go.
You mentioned having Josh Taylor here, and I've seen evidence of you bouncing off each other in the gym, both from McGuigan's and also in the short time that I've been with you here. How good is it to have Josh? Obviously, you've known Josh. Obviously, he went through different amateur cycles. He was one ahead of you, and you've always kind of had this admiration for him, really, and this respect for him, as well as being friends. How important was Josh in your decision to come over here?
Yeah, no, it's great to be back alongside him. Like I said, I feel like that's where I really was at my best training-wise, and bouncing off him, looking up to him, and I just had this whole new energy when I was around him, and it's the same. I think he's the same with me. We've got a good bit of competition. No really had to see it this camp, to be fair, because he's coming towards the end of it. But like you say, when we were back at McGuigan's, it was always laughs and jokes, obviously outside the training and stuff, but it was strictly business, and it was serious when we were in the gym training, like you had seen. And I feel like we had a really good competition. I would push him on and he'd push me on. Obviously, he's a lot more experienced than me. I always go to him for advice and stuff, but when it came to the training side of things and the running and stuff, I'm more than done well keeping up with him. He actually used to have to chase me on the running. So, yeah, like I say, it's great to be back alongside him, and I'm really looking forward to actually going into the next year with him and doing camps together. It's going to be good.
He actually said to me that he has to be a bit wary of giving you too much more advice because you're going to overtake him and break all of his records.
Yeah, no, well, I said that the other day. He's 16 fights and he's unified world champion. I'm a bit younger, so there's more time in me, and plus Josh had a lot bigger amateur background than what I did. But so far, I've beat him with the Commonwealth. I won the Commonwealth title in my 5th fight. I've also won the British, but he progressed that quickly. He sort of bypassed that. But yeah, like I said, I've got big shoes to fill if I want to keep to overtake him anyway. But I could potentially be an undefeated British, Commonwealth and European champion in 10 fights at the age of 23, which I think is a very big achievement. So that's what my full focus is on, and like I said, I've got the best team around me to make that possible.
Would be a great achievement indeed, which leads us on to the fight itself. KARIM GUERFI, obviously well known to boxing fans as a really high-level operator. What does it mean for you to challenge for the European title, as you say, in just inside 10 fights, and against a legitimate opponent in KARIM GUERFI? It's a really tough fight.
100%. He's been in with world champions. He's been in with the very best, and I'm looking forward to the challenge. As I've said, I've made it clear I'm not scared of any challenge. I'm willing to take risks, and with risks you get rewards, and that's exactly what I'm going to be doing going into this fight. It's a risk, but one that I feel like I can win, or I wouldn't be going into the fight. So yeah, like you said, he's an experienced guy. He's had 33 fights. I've only had 9. A hell of a lot more experience than me, but I'm younger, I'm fresher, and believe me, I'm more hungry. So I'm going to give everything in training, leave no stone unturned, and I believe I will become European champion next month, in November, sorry.
One of the things that I wanted to speak to you about, it's one of the things that always kind of springs to my mind first. Well, the first thing that springs to my mind whenever I speak about you or think about you is he's massive at bantamweight. That's the first thing I always think about, because again, I've seen you on the way there. But the second thing I always think about is the support that you bring with you everywhere. I remember that night when you beat Thomas Asomba at York Hall and the place was absolutely bouncing. You didn't have that in your last fight. You're not going to have that in this fight. What's that going to be like for you? I mean, it must be so great and such a privilege to perform under such a great atmosphere and to not have them fans. Is that going to bother you at all?
My last fight, it didn't really bother me. It was basically just about getting back in the ring, getting a win, and pushing on to bigger things like I'm now doing. So it didn't really bother me, and in the fight, I didn't even feel a difference. The minute the bell went, it didn't feel like there was any difference. Whereas this time I'm really gutted that there's going to be no fans. I feel like obviously with being in the UK, it could have potentially been a headliner in Scotland. Like you said, I would have sold out any sort of arena. We've not really got many arenas in Edinburgh, but again, I've took big supports through Glasgow, so that would have been no problem. And I'm just gutted on that behalf, but still, I've got a job to do, and all my fans will all be tuning in. They'll all be shouting and screaming and partying somewhere, which still gives me a job to do and make sure they enjoy their night as best they can. But yeah, like I said, I am gutted that they're not going to be there. There's nothing better than walking out under the bright lights and just unbelievable atmosphere. And this would have been obviously the biggest fight of my life. And like I say, I'm gutted, but this is the world we're in just now.
All being well and you capture the European title, where does KASH FAROOQ fit into your future plans? Obviously, everybody, myself included, would love to see a rematch. Where does that sit on your plan?
Well, when it was first getting spoke about after the last fight, I was obviously I'm well up for the rematch, but I was a bit like, yeah, no problem, but let's get it done ASAP. Let's get it done as soon as, because like I said, I felt like my time at bantamweight was very limited and I didn't have much longer at it. Now, with the different training and the team I've got now, it could potentially wait and be a massive fight. We could be for world honours. But me being a fighter that I am, and I would make KASH my first defence, like I've said and made it clear. So if the right offer's made and our teams can agree something, 100%. Like I would be crazy not to want that fight again. Especially the way I'm feeling performing now. Like I've said, and I've made no secret that was KASH FAROOQ's best chance to beat me. There's no way he's going to get that Lee McGregor ever again. I'm not saying it was a bad Lee McGregor. It was just, like I said, I had a big eye opener over the past since my last fight. In between now, I've learned so much, gained so much experience in a short space of time, and there's just simply no way that I'll go into a fight feeling, not that I was feeling bad. I was big, I was strong, but I just mean the preparations going up to it, the things I done making weight was just crazy, and I'll never do that again. And that's why I will be a much better fighter in the next fight, and that's why I want the fight, because I want to prove that, listen, there's just simply no way that he's gonna beat me. That was his best chance to do it. And people think he did. People think I won. Everyone's got their opinions to say on the fight, and that's why I want to have the rematch. And I want to listen. I feel like we talk about the rematch, and if I was in his shoes, I'd be shouting more for it. because, like you say, you thought you won this and that. Like, it's me that's the one speaking about the rematch, and it shouldn't really be me, to be honest, because I'm the champion. I've got the belts. I'm moving on to European, but like I said, I'm open to the rematch, and I've not really heard much talk about it. Like, let's talk to us, get in touch with my management, MTK. Do you know what I mean? If you are that serious about wanting the rematch, then you know where we're at. We've not had anything yet. So, but like I said, my mind's firmly set on winning the European title. That's a tough fight, the toughest fight in my career, like I just said. So, anything after that, we'll see what happens.
I think it's very well said, and I think it's probably worth pointing out that a controversial, or albeit in some people's views, controversial first fight only leads to more intrigue for a rematch. So hopefully we get to see that fight again down the line. It was a great fight, no matter who you thought won. Before I let you go, final word on Josh Taylor, as we're here. What day is it today? Monday. So we're 5-6 days out from his bout with Appanon Kongsong. Obviously, you've mentioned that Josh looks very well, looks very tanned. Been taking some sunbeds from you, Mr. McGregor. How is he looking, and what are you expecting to see from Josh this Saturday? Yeah,
like I said, I've obviously just come down last week, so we're just coming towards the end of his camp. I've seen his last couple of spars, and he looks really, really good. Normally, when you're in your last spar, you can't wait, you're not feeling the best. He's still flying. He's looked the best I've seen him this close to the fight. He's in the best spirits this close to a fight. You'll probably agree. So yeah, everything's good so far. He knows what he's got to do, and listen, he's an experienced guy, and I'm sure he'll come through this fight and go on to massive things.
Yeah, he looks good. Usually around this time, he tries to hit me with my microphone if I take any more than 10 minutes of his time, but I got 20 minutes out of him today, so it must be okay. Always a pleasure, Lee. Great to see you looking so well. I'm very happy for you with your new move, and hopefully the setup lasts well for you and you get nice and settled here and move on to bigger and better things. But if I don't see you before, which I hopefully will, best of luck against KARIM GUERFI as you bid to claim the European title quicker than Josh Taylor.
100%, mate. Thanks, Rob. Cheers. Cheers, mate.